I have a bit of drama shade and tea because I was going through my makeup collection. I like to do this every few months, just see what I'm using, what I'm not using, what I can spare to give away, what I can get rid of, what's old, what's new, what seems a little bit expired. And I have a few different shelves of eyeshadow palettes. They're separated into like, one is just Pat McGrath stuff, one is like Charlotte Tilbury, Natasha Denona, and just like a few other like more high-end brands that I have less eyeshadow palettes from, or like that take up less space. And then I have just like one high-end, like mid to high-end, you know, Anastasia Beverly Hills, that kind of thing. And then I have one which is like Colourpop, and that's it. And this was in the mid to high-end realm. It's the Patrick Ta Major Dimensions eyeshadow palette. It's the Major Dimensions 2, which is the more pink one, and the first one was more like brown. This has a 12-month shelf life, as it says on the back. And I've had it for 15 months, which is over the 12-month shelf life, but I've never had to get rid of an eyeshadow palette because it was expired. I still have my original ABH palettes. So I have the Norvina, which looks slightly less beat up. It's just a little bit like lighter on the edges from where it's been kind of rubbed around. But then my Soft Glam, I mean, she on camera looks a little bit better. In person, she's very beat up. She's just a little bit, like, I bet if I got a new one, actually I did get a new one because I wanted these before they stopped selling them. I feel like this is like a part of my life that I don't particularly want to get rid of, and I've never opened these. These are just in the boxes, and I know they don't make Norvina anymore, and I was able to get it just in a Boots online. It was sold out everywhere else, and it's been sold out for ages. I don't think they're bringing back the Norvina. They're not making these suede ones anymore, so whatever they had, they sold, and then that was it. But I rebought these because these two were my most used eyeshadow palettes in general, plus they were my most used like Anastasia Beverly Hills ones. This one I've hit pan on multiple different shades. I mean, there's so many dips, so many. I remember this was like my first mid to high-end eyeshadow palette that I got myself, and I used it every day. Like, I didn't use anything else for so long. I mean, look at it. It's well loved. I've literally had this for, I believe, maybe 6 to 7 years. I got it when I was 17. I'm 23, almost 24 now. So yeah, 6 to 7 years. It looks amazing. There's no smell in it. It just smells like eyeshadow, like just powder. And this one is another one. You can see how dirty it is in the corner there. But this is another one that I've loved and used and cherished. This one even more so. Like, this pink has seen things. Yeah, when I did my project pan, I remember panning this and just loving it. Once again, just a powder smell. Like, I've had this one for probably 4 or 5 years. I don't know, like, just ages is all I'm trying to say. Let me actually just open these for you guys. I'll open them. I know that's not what the video is about, but let's just have a little, I just want to compare. Is there thunder outside? What is going on? I just want to compare what they look like. So this is the Norvina. Oh, she's so, oh yeah, she's so brand new. So I actually want to compare these for you guys. As you can see, there's a bit of a shade difference, dare I say. I actually want to open the eyeshadow palette. I know, that's not what the video is about, but I'll just, imagine if I opened it and it was cracked and I just hadn't noticed this whole time because I just didn't open them. Anyway, this looks so brand new. It looks fresh. It looks amazing. Obviously you can see which one's been loved, which one yet hasn't, which is fine. I'll actually put this one back into its box because I don't want to use it just yet. I'm just keeping it for a rainy day, for when these ones are going to get thrown out, because, like, I don't know, they just don't. Like, this one is just such a good eyeshadow palette, I don't know. And with the Soft Glam, I mean, same thing. I feel like the Soft Glam is even more beat up. I'm doing all of this to show you guys that I have old eyeshadow palettes. I'm a collector and I keep things for a long time. Look at this. Wow. Like, that is amazing. That is like history right here. This one like isn't frayed as much as well. You guys can see. The back looks different. This one has like a big sticker with all the ingredients on it, whereas this one just has the ingredients on the carton, and once you get rid of that, you can't. Anyway, both cruelty free, and they both have an 18-month shelf life. Bear in mind, I've kept this on for 6 to 7 years, which is obviously a lot more than 18 months. I know they're re-releasing some of these, like they're doing 9 pans for the Sultry and the Modern Renaissance. I think they're getting rid of these and they're going to redo them as 9 pans because they don't want as many shades. But this is what this one looks like. Oh, it looks so fresh. It looks so amazing. These feel a little bit different. I don't know. There's something, maybe it's just because they're new and they don't look so used up. They just feel different. I don't know. Okay, well, I'm excited to have these. And this just goes to show, like, I have some beaten up eyeshadow palettes where the expiry date isn't far off from what the Patrick Ta one is. That's all I wanted to say. This one is a 12-month shelf life from when you open it, which I get that I've had it open for 15 months. Before anyone says like, oh, it's 12 months, so that's it. I keep makeup way past the shelf life. With creams, sometimes you get unlucky, like they might not last, you know, after the shelf life is done. With powders, I don't agree with whatever the shelf life is. I just keep them for however long I want to keep them for. And I feel like most people do that too. It's like the general consensus for powder products. So I got this one in June last year. It's currently the beginning of October. So like I said, you know, tell me why. I opened it recently to be like, oh my God, I forgot I had this palette. I've only used it once since I got it in the 15 months because I was busy with everything else. Let me just use it. Tell me why I open it and there's mold in one of the pans. Now, you probably won't be able to see this up close now because whatever, but I actually yesterday filmed up close shots with the help of my boyfriend to show you guys how awful it looks. And I think the other shade is starting to develop the same problem. So let me just show the palette to you guys. This is the palette. This is the Major Dimensions 2. Super stunning, super sweet, super funky. Look at this shade right here. So I'm going to try and show it to you guys from this angle. As you can see, there's little bits of stuff in the pan. But I have up close shots from yesterday that I'm going to put in. There are literally bits, like you can see where it's growing out of the pan because it's pushed the eyeshadow. It's like forced its way out. It literally looks like a plant growing out of my eyeshadow palette, which is basically what mold is. It's like basically a plant. It like looks like it when it grows out. It just looks fluffy and fuzzy and green. And this one is starting to get weird bumps on it where it looks like it might get pushed out. Now I'm smelling it and it actually smells really damp here, but it's not. It's been kept in the IKEA shelves, out of sunlight, out of damp. It's not like I keep my makeup in the bathroom. And like, once again, I've been showing you guys all these other eyeshadow palettes I've had to prove a point. I've never had this issue before. I don't really know what's going on. Now the creams, I've never used them, as you can see. They've never been touched. However, I'm starting to see little patches of something on them, and I'm just wondering if they're going to go next. I don't know if you guys can, I did insert some footage from yesterday. I just don't know if you'll be able to see. It's very subtle. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it. But there is mold growing on these. And I remember seeing people talk about this for a while on different forums, and I didn't think it was going to be me. So I took some screenshots of just different forums. I typed it into Reddit first because that's just what I do when I'm looking for something. I just type into Reddit and I just see what happens. So the r/Sephora subreddit, has anyone had a Patrick Ta Major Dimensions palette for a long time and not have it go moldy? I've read a few reviews of the Patrick Ta palettes growing mold only after a few months of use. Some said 6 to 8 months into use. Now, the thing is, I didn't check when this was wrong. Like, I bought it, I used it once within the first month, and then I never touched it again. Maybe that's because volume's on the palette. I don't know. It's a little bit boring, but whatever. So I actually don't know when this happened, but it happened in the last 15 months, which is too late to return in store and a waste of $70. These are now $70. I think I paid £48, but I think there was some kind of sale going on as well, so I'm not sure. I'm really quite interested in purchasing them because of the quality, but if they can go bad too quick, I have to pass. I know that these palettes don't have parabens, but many brands are clean as well, and I haven't read the same about them. That's another thing. This is a clean brand. Whenever a brand goes clean, the quality tends to go down. So for example, Glossier recently went clean and fully vegan for Sephora. Well, they mainly focus on going clean because of the Sephora clean like thing. You have to check off certain things, and Glossier was really pushing to be on the clean list at Sephora, and a bunch of their like cult favorite items have now been like trashed because they have to change a bunch of the formulas, so that's not great. To those of you who bought one or both Major Dimensions palettes, how long have you had them? Months, years, and are they going mold, or so far so good? Help a girl out. So someone said, I bought the Major Dimensions 2 palette 7 months ago and it got mold. That never happened to my palettes. In EU, we can't return any makeup, but I got lucky and Cult Beauty refunded me the money as the palette had a shelf life of 1 year and it got mold after 7 months. Never buying anything from Patrick Ta because of that. After my palette got mold, I did a search and found many more people with the same issue. Now, he's actually currently, it's been kind of leaked that he's releasing his regular 6 pan blush palette for Christmas, for like the holiday season, with 4 shimmery glimmery eyeshadows on the side. And I was super close to getting it because I've never had the palettes, I've never had the blushes from Patrick Ta, so I really wanted to try those. I love a good blush palette, and then the 4 glimmery shades looked so amazing. So when I saw Patrick Ta's eyeshadow palette in my collection, I was like, oh, let me get this out to see how I feel about it. And then it was moldy, so I'm obviously never getting anything again. Someone said, damn, I've seen palettes last for years. 7 months is unacceptable for something worth $70. Yeah, you're literally paying $10 a month for an eyeshadow palette. Good thing they gave you your money back. Thank you, friend. I've also bought mine on Cult Beauty, so I've reached out to them. I know it's 15 months, which is over the expiry date, but it's still kind of unacceptable. I honestly think my Major Dimensions Rose palette has some type of mold or something in the deepest shimmer shade. I don't have the name memorized, but it looks so odd that it's literally only that shade though. Excuse the dig mark, I was trying to see if I could dig it out. And they posted, I mean, it looks moldy to me. That's literally green all over the eyeshadow palette. Nor, it looks similar to the, I love doing the like H2O, which I know is an Australian accent, but it's just funny. It looks similar to the mold seen in other palettes. How long have you had it? I hope you can still do return exchange. And they said, bestie, it's way too late for me to exchange. I purchased this in June of last year. I'm sad because it's literally my most used palette. I found mold this morning and emailed Patrick Ta customer service. According to them, it is crystallization of waxes from extreme temperature changes, and their lab says it's definitely not mold. As I've never traveled with my palette and my house is insanely temp controlled and my product is never exposed to direct sunlight, I'm calling bullshit on this. Me too. I've never traveled with this one. My house never goes above a certain degrees and below certain degrees. I have a thermostat, just kind of stays the same. Yeah, it's never been exposed to sunlight either. Even if it didn't look exactly like mold growing on my shadows, a product at this price point should not be separating or forming any kind of crystallization after 7 months of 7 months after purchasing. Damn, this looks too much like mold to be crystallization. I don't know, man, that sucks. But you're right, crystallization should never be an issue for a palette that costs $70 essentially. Did they at least offer to send you a new one? And she emailed back asking for a replacement. From the response to the initial email, I doubt they'll send me a new one. I'm really bummed because I love the color story, but I'm also so grossed out by the lack of statement from Patrick Ta and the meh response from customer service. They said, yikes, I'm sure daddy PT is loaded. Feels really stingy to me to just be ignoring customers with legitimate concerns about their products. I hope you get a replacement still. And then she sent another picture of a shade looking gross. Then Beauty Guru Chatter Malt issue with Patrick Ta eyeshadow. So this is really not like an individual issue. A lot of people are having this. And it's a darker shade. It seems to be the darker shades that are already causing issues. Either the one I showed or the one next to it. Whereas the mold on that dark brown eyeshadow, I'll try to take better photos. It's on the first shimmer in the top row. I don't know why Reddit obliterated the quality of the photo. That's like fuzzy light green coat. And the thing is, this is an eyeshadow palette that they just opened. They've like never used this before. They literally opened it like this. And then r/makeup addiction. Is anyone having molding issues with their Patrick Ta Major Dimensions 2? And they showed the darker shade, and the one next to it has the exact same issues as me. It's like little growth spurts. I wonder if my one gets worse. I'm actually going to keep it. If Cult Beauty responds to me and they say they're going to send me a replacement, that's fine, but I won't send them my eyeshadow palette back because I want to see how it progresses. I'll actually keep it and see if mine gets that bad after X amount of months. Did you contact the brand? I just found this in mine and it's like fuzzy. No, I did not contact the brand. You should. This is another one. This is on the shade that I have as well issues with, and the one next to it. Moldy Patrick Ta Major Dimensions 2 in r/makeup addiction, and they posted a few pictures. That one is like well loved. I've had my Huda Beauty Desert Dusk palette for 5 to 6 years now and it's still not moldy. I still use it time to time, lol. It makes me curious what in the world can be in an eyeshadow palette that can make it mold. Food product, animal product. I never owned Patrick Ta, but I would check the formula list. As for a refund, they probably would give you one considering that you've had it for 7 to 8 months. Somewhere on the packaging there should be a jar symbol with a number on it. That's the product's shelf life. I'm looking at my makeup right now and some say 6 and some say 12 to 24. I think it's not so much about what's in it, but more what's not in it. Patrick Ta is a clean beauty brand and uses the lack of preservatives in its makeup as a selling point, which I do think is a slight concern. People did ask like, oh, where do you store your makeup? And everyone has the same answers. Everyone has these like IKEA shelves in just like their bedroom or something. Update, after getting a replacement from Patrick Ta, that one has also begun to mold, so now I have 2 moldy eyeshadow palettes. r/Sephora, Patrick Ta and moldy palettes. Okay, so PT is launching a new eyeshadow palette on the 1st and absolutely fell in love with it. It's the like all matte one, which you actually might have more of a good experience with. I went on Sephora's app to read the reviews on their previous palette launches and oh my god, the amount of reviews saying their palette grew mold is overwhelming. Like what the fuck, how is that possible for a palette costing that much money? Has anybody had any experience with PT palettes? I've only tried the pumping gloss so far and I love it so much. Someone said mine had mold on it as soon as I opened it up. Same, I love the look of these palettes, but why risk it? There are plenty of beauty companies which don't sell moldy products. My Major Dimensions 2 had mold on eyeshadows that were never even swatched. My theory is that it has something to do with the moisture related to the creams that affect the powders. The brand also did nothing to respond and continues to sell moldy palettes. Avoid. The Major Dimensions palette is my favorite palette of all time, and I haven't had a single issue with it. My Major Dimensions palette just recently grew mold on 2 shimmers that I've literally never used. The thing is, I never even touched those shimmers, like I touched the other ones. So it's concerning. Like, it's not like dirt from my finger, which some people have said in these subreddits, oh, it must just be, you know, bacteria in your finger. It's like, I swatch a bunch of eyeshadow palettes. I only pretty much use shimmers with my fingers. So if this was a like worldwide issue that your fingers are causing molding in your eyeshadow palettes, then it would be with literally every single one of my palettes. But it's not, one, because I do it all the time, and 2, I haven't touched that shade because I didn't swatch all of them. I've had the palette almost since it launched, so it's old. I want to just remove them and throw them out because every other shade is fine, but I haven't messed with it yet. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think most of the mold issues have been with shimmers. If this palette is all matte, it'll probably be fine. His mattes are all really nice. His mattes are really nice. The ones in Major Dimensions 2 specifically are my favorite matte eyeshadows ever. They apply effortlessly and are never patchy. I adore them. Someone said dirty fingers is how. I honestly thought the same thing, but these people claim that they never had that happen with any other palettes ever. Plus, the sheer amount of people reporting this is alarming. This is why I hate clean makeup. Not all preservatives are bad and are what keep mold from going in your makeup. Someone said it's so pricey too. Patrick Tart isn't on the UK Sephora website, and it's on Cult Beauty, but Cult Beauty only has like limited reviews. I think they had like 5 reviews up, and they were all like 5 stars. So I went on the Sephora US website, and it has 740 reviews, which I think is a much wider range of reviews and like opinions. And then I feel like you can get people that probably used it for a while and then commented later on, rather than just like opening it and giving it a 5-star. So I went on lowest. So many bad reviews about molding. So 2 stars. I don't even know why you'd give it 2 stars if it's moldy, but you know, mold. First shimmer grew mold within 1 month of purchase. Such an amazing palette if it weren't for this major issue. Patrick Tart needs to stop ignoring this catastrophe and fix it. Unacceptable at any price, let alone $70 pre-tax. 1 star. Beware mold. I have purchased this eyeshadow palette back in April, and today when I decided to use it, I've realized that it's growing mold. I called Sephora and they are refusing to take it back, and this was from April to 11 days ago, so really only a few months. Moldy, didn't even own them long, disappointed. If I could give this brand 0 stars, I would. Not sure how a brand gets away with selling moldy palettes, especially how expensive it is. Had to throw both of my Patrick Tart palettes out. That's $140 pre-tax. 1 star, mold. When I opened the palette, I found mold on the top left glitter eyeshadow. Another shadow was falling out of its pan. For this price point, this is ridiculous. I have 20 plus eyeshadow palettes. Some are years old and never have had any mold growing on them. Contacted Patrick Tart customer service and they are unresponsive. Save your money, sis. And really, that is it. That's what I wanted to talk about. It's kind of, I don't know, like I just don't trust Patrick Tart anymore. I don't want any of the products. I think this whole like clean beauty thing is fine if you're doing it well. I don't know if you can do it well. I mean, I haven't had these issues with any other brand, whether clean or not, so I'm not sure if it's a Patrick issue, if it's the cream with the powders in one palette issue, if it's a manufacturing issue. I'm not really sure, but I just wanted to bring this to your guys' attention if you didn't see this before. Before you spend $70 per palette, and he has 2 shimmer matte ones, 1 matte one, and then there are new eyeshadows coming out with a new blush palette, which there might be the same issues with those eyeshadows. So I just wanted to, mainly with there being the cream blushes in there as well, if it is an issue of mixing creams and powders in one palette. So I just wanted to bring this to your guys' attention before you spend a bunch of money that you might regret. Let me know if you have had this issue. I'm really just like looking for some community chatting right now. Have you guys had this issue? Because it's actually really disgusting in my opinion. So subscribe to the bell icon for engagement. I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.